Well, moving on, Anupam Rasayan is the first management on the show today. The company recently signed a 10-year letter of intent worth 922 crore rupees with a Korean MNC. They also signed a deal with Elementium Materials to supply advanced solvents for EV batteries. To discuss this, we have Vishal Thakkar, Deputy CFO of Anupam Rasayan with us. Thank you so much, Vishal, for joining us. A lot of news flow that's come in as far as Anupam Rasayan is concerned over the last week or so. We also understand you held a plant visit for the sell-side analyst community, so it's very good to have you on the show. First up, outline the details of the LOI with us. Are you able to disclose the name of the MNC with whom you have done this particular deal, and how will revenue recognition be done over the 10-year period?
Hi, thank you and good afternoon. Thank you for having me on your channel. Yes, I think the recent quarter has been a more buoyant quarter for us, especially in terms of order intake as well as the ramp up that we are seeing in terms of revenue. Let's now talk about the contract, the LOI that we signed recently. This is again a specialty chemical, more on the polymer side, which is going to go into the applications which are more niche in terms of defense and aerospace segment. This is again with a Korean company. Unfortunately, under the CDA, I would not be able to share the name, but it's a good thing is that it's a diversification in terms of geography also. It is coming from a Korean multinational, which is a very large player in this industry. And we will have a 10-year contract here. So every year we will start to have around about an average of 92 crores of revenue from there. It will take, it should start getting commercialized in FY26 and it will ramp up from here on. So all in all, good one on this. On the Elementium side, again, this is a new age battery chemical, especially as an electrolyte, which goes into improving the efficiency and the energy density of the product for the battery, especially in the EV space. So this is a very strong recognition coming from our customers in terms of our ability to give a very high quality new age molecule. So again, that's a very interesting one, and there we see that the validation, the commercialization will happen now, and then the validations will take place, especially of my customers' products as well, and then we will see the ramp up from then on. It's a large volume. It should give us a good traction in the future.
Vishal, good afternoon. Sorry to cut you in, but you'd mentioned you'd start supplying by FY26. If you could be more specific on which quarter do you start doing that, and what does that do to your top line margins in the immediate term? If you could share some numbers on that.
So see, I would rather see, I would give you a broad context of how I'm seeing the quarter 4 and then the quarter FY26 as well. We believe that the quarter 4 should look more robust than the Q3. So I should have a QOQ and YOY decent growth in terms of Q4. FY26, we see that we should be having a good growth coming from there for 26, and our growth journey should be now back on track from what we had seen in the 5 years before the last 2 years, which were the dip. And largely, I would see that would come in from 3 broad categories. One, agrochem cycle coming back and the volumes coming back, and that's what we've been seeing in Q4, and we see that will continue over the FY26. Also, if you see the pharma is really picking up for us, that would again give me the growth. And polymer, as I was saying, is going to give us additional growth. And to my mind, these 3 drivers would ensure that for the near term, we should have a strong growth during 26-27 period. And LOIs would be one of the strong contributors to that. Today, it has been contributing around about 20-25% of my revenue. Around 20% of my revenue. And I think this should continue to give me a higher contribution as we go forward.
Right. Vishal, the other thing that analysts have pointed out is the total value of a lot of the LOIs that you have signed are now almost in excess of 10,000 crore, right? Please correct us if it's wrong. So, FY26, you've indicated that revenue visibility is quite strong, and the LOIs that you've signed since 2022, we want to understand what portion of those LOIs you have already started recognizing revenue in. The other thing is, for some of the newer LOIs that have come in, what are the EBITDA margins that you will be operating at, and what will be the working capital cycle that you will also be working at? Eventually, what will be the ROCE that one can enjoy on these products?
Lovely. Lovely. So let me first talk about the revenue recognition. Then I'll talk about the margin, and then I'll talk about the working capital, and then also about my capital employed.
Right.
So let's talk about the revenue. So the LOIs that I signed in FY 2022. So typically, if you look at any of my process, you should look at an LOI process of 2 plus 2 plus 2. So what do I mean by that? It takes me around 2 years to get to from a R&D to an LOI kind of LOI stage. It takes me around about 2 years, give or take 6 months, depending upon the plant availability and the validation. Typically, it takes me 2 years to get to the commercialization, and then another 2 to 3 years to ramp up to the potential that it would typically have. So when I have signed an LOI, which means that I've taken care of the first 2 years. The next 2 years is where we are sitting with the customer and saying where would the larger volumes be coming from, where would the plants be established, and all that stuff will come into play. And that is where, if you see the FY 2022 LOIs, we have commercialized all of them. And FY23, we should be the one that we have signed in FY23 and 24 onwards, we should be commercializing in FY2026. So next year we should have commercialized most of the LOIs that we would have signed. Now, as I was saying, so let's say in 2022, I had signed an LOI worth of 2,600 crores. So if I divide it by 5, I am around about 475, 500 crores of revenue, of which 200 plus revenue has been recognized in this year itself. Now, as we go next year, we should be able to recognize at least double of this, if not more of this. So that's what I'm trying to say. Now, further, if you look at when I say 10,000 crores of LOI, typically you should say that 10,000 divided by 6 or 7 years is an average period. So around about 16 to 1700 crores of revenue should be added on the base revenue that I would have had. So that's what I'm saying, that in next two years time, I should have commercialized most of them or all of them. And then it will be a couple of years to get to the full potential of that.
All right,
Now,
Vishal. Right. If you could quickly summarize this, we are running out of time. So if you could quickly summarize what you meant.
Yeah. On the margin side, see, we are a CSM player, so margins will try and keep it in the band of 26 to 28% typically. Yes, there will be some bit of a buoyancy because of the economies of scale. To working capital, you would see that there will be a far more improved working capital as we go, and even these contracts will have a fairly bit of a more tighter working capital requirement. So that should be adding to us in terms of our working capital efficiency. And the last one on the capital allocation side, all my plants are now fully deployed. So in terms of capex has been completed, and whatever small validation and other stuff are there, which should be completed in next quarter or two in terms of capex implementation, and then whatever is the time for validation ramp up will come in. So I don't need any more capex. Working capital, it will be more efficient, and hence I think you would see a strong ROC coming from here.
Right, Vishal. Thank you so much for sparing time and joining us. Wish you good luck for the road ahead. The management there of Anupam Rasayan. Take a short break. On the other side, the management of Ola Electric joins in as the company completes the implementation of its network transformation and OPEX reduction. So you won't want to miss that conversation. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.